Stop for a moment. Before you scroll, before you look away, before you tell yourself, I'll watch this later, because if you are here right now, this moment was not placed in front of you by accident. Let me speak to you like no one else will. There is a season in your life that does not announce itself. It does not come with celebration. It does not come with success. It comes quietly, and if you miss it, you miss the turning point of your entire story. You have been feeling it, haven't you? The strange pressure in your chest, the restlessness that doesn't go away, the feeling that something in your life is ending, even though nothing has officially ended yet. That is not stress. That is not overthinking. That is transition. Most people reach this moment and turn back. They run back to comfort. They run back to what is familiar. They run back to who they used to be. But you didn't. You're still here. And that tells me something about you. Because Allah does not let everyone feel this call. He only places it on the hearts that are about to be moved forward. So let me ask you something, and I want you to answer it honestly, even if only in your own heart. What if the reason your life has felt heavy lately? What if the reason things have been falling apart instead of coming together? What if the reason you've been standing in silence while others move ahead is because you are standing at the edge of the moment where Allah begins to change who you are, not just what you have? Do not watch this like a video. Listen to this like a message. Because by the time you reach the end, you are not meant to be the same person who pressed play. This is not about motivation. This is not about comfort. This is about recognition. This is your turn. Allah destroys the life that can no longer hold who you are becoming. Let me speak to you gently. There comes a moment in your life when what once felt like a blessing begins to feel like a burden. Not because it became bad, but because you became bigger inside than the space you are standing in. You wake up and everything looks the same. The same people, the same routines, the same paths you walk every day. But something inside you feels restless, like your soul is pressing against invisible walls. And you start to ask yourself quiet questions. Why does this place feel so small now? Why does this life feel heavy instead of hopeful? Why does my heart feel like it is searching for something I cannot name? This is not confusion. This is growth. Allah does not tear down your life because He is angry with you. He allows things to fall apart when they can no longer carry what He is building inside you. Just like a seed cannot stay in the shell forever, your life cannot remain in the same shape when your soul is expanding. Sometimes, Allah removes what you leaned on so you can learn what truly holds you. A job ends. A relationship fades. A plan collapses. A door you thought was meant for you suddenly closes. And in those moments, it feels like loss. It feels like failure. It feels like everything you worked for is slipping out of your hands. But what is really happening is something much deeper. Allah is making space. He is clearing room for a version of you that cannot fit inside the old life you are trying to protect. You see, not everything that feels like destruction is meant to destroy you. Some things are meant to free you. If Allah allowed you to stay where you are comfortable, you would never discover what you are capable of becoming. Comfort makes the heart settle. Growth makes the heart move. That is why this season feels uncomfortable. That is why things feel uncertain. That is why you feel like you are standing on ground that keeps shifting under your feet. It is because you are no longer meant to stand still. And here is the part most people miss. When Allah begins this process, He does not explain Himself. He does not send a sign that says, "This is for your elevation." He does not whisper, "Trust me, something better is coming." He simply asks you to walk through the breaking without seeing the building yet. This is where your trust becomes real, not when life makes sense, but when life falls apart and you still choose to believe that Allah is shaping something beyond what your eyes can see. If you are in a season where things feel like they are being taken from you instead of given to you, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not being emptied. You are being prepared. The life you are losing cannot hold the person you are becoming. And one day, you will look back at this moment, this uncomfortable, uncertain, painful season, and you will realize something that only time can teach you. Allah did not destroy your life. He rescued you from a future that was too small for your destiny. And the strength you are gaining right now, in this quiet breaking, is what will allow you to walk into what He has been preparing for you all along. Allah erases the crowd so your soul can hear the voice that called it. Let me speak to you honestly now. One of the most confusing moments in your life is when people start to disappear. Not in a dramatic way, not with arguments or goodbyes, but quietly. Messages slow down, invitations stop coming, conversations feel shorter, emptier, distant, and you sit there wondering, did I do something wrong? Did I change? Did I become less important to everyone around me? But let me tell you something most people never realize. Sometimes Allah does not remove people because you failed. He removes them because you are being called forward. There is a season in life where your soul needs quiet more than it needs company. Not because you are meant to be alone forever, but because you are meant to meet yourself in a way you never have before. When too many voices surround you, it becomes hard to hear the one voice that truly guides you. So Allah lowers the volume of the world. He allows the crowd to thin. He allows the noise to fade. He allows you to sit in spaces where you are no longer distracted by approval, attention, or expectations. And in that silence, something powerful begins to happen. You start to notice your own thoughts, your own fears, your own hopes, your own questions about who you really are and what you are truly walking toward. This is not loneliness. This is clarity forming. You see, when people are always around, it is easy to become a version of yourself that fits their comfort instead of your calling. You laugh at what they laugh at. You chase what they chase. You value what they value. But when the crowd steps back, you finally stand face to face with your own soul. And that moment can feel uncomfortable, because you can no longer hide behind roles. You can no longer perform for anyone. You can no longer measure yourself by how much you are needed or wanted. You are simply there, with Allah, with your heart, with the quiet. And in that space, something inside you begins to realign. You start to realize which connections were feeding you and which were only filling time. You start to see which voices were guiding you and which were only echoing your fears. You start to understand which paths you were walking because you were called, and which ones you were walking because you were following. This is why this season feels heavy, because separation always feels like loss before it feels like direction. And here is the hardest part. Allah does not always replace people immediately when He removes them. He leaves the space open, not as a punishment, but as an invitation to build a relationship with Him that is not crowded by constant distraction, an invitation to learn how to stand without leaning on anyone else, an invitation to discover strength that comes from inside, not from being surrounded. If you feel like your world has grown smaller, hear this clearly. It is not shrinking, it is becoming focused. Allah is not isolating you to weaken you. He is isolating you to refine you. Because when your purpose becomes clear, the right people will find you. Not because you chased them, but because you finally know who you are and where you are going. And when that day comes, you will understand something that only this quiet season can teach. The crowd did not leave you. They made room for you to hear the voice that called you forward in the first place. Allah starves the desires that would have betrayed your destiny. Let me speak to you slowly now. There comes a moment in your life when the things you once wanted with all your heart begin to lose their pull on you. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gently. You still remember what you prayed for. You still remember what you chased. You still remember the nights you thought, if I just had this, I would finally be at peace. But now, it does not grip you the same way. And at first, this scares you. You wonder if you are becoming cold. You wonder if you are losing your passion. You wonder if something inside you is fading. But what is actually happening is something far more powerful. Allah is teaching your heart the difference between what feels good for a moment and what is good for your life. You see, not every desire that burns inside you is meant to lead you forward. Some desires only know how to pull you in circles. They promise comfort, attention, or escape, but they quietly keep you standing in the same place. So Allah does something gentle but firm. He lets those desires grow tired inside you. He does not always take them away from the world around you. He takes them away from your heart. And when a desire no longer controls your thoughts, it no longer controls your steps. This is one of the hardest forms of growth, because you do not just lose things. You lose versions of yourself. The version of you that needed approval. The version of you that chased attention. The version of you that stayed where you were only because it felt familiar. And when those versions begin to fade, it can feel like emptiness. But that emptiness is not a hole. It is space. Space for clarity. Space for strength. Space for a future that is not built on desperation. You begin to notice that you no longer move the same way. You do not rush toward every invitation. You do not react to every message. You do not chase every opportunity that looks shiny on the surface. You pause. You listen. You ask yourself, does this lead me closer to who I am becoming, or does it pull me back to who I used to be? And that question alone changes everything. This is when your life starts to feel quieter, but steadier. You start to value peace over praise, direction over distraction, depth over display. And here is something beautiful that happens in this season. You begin to trust yourself, not in a proud way, not in a careless way, but in a grounded way. You trust that your heart is being guided, not just driven. If you feel like your old cravings no longer excite you, do not rush to replace them. Do not fill the silence with noise. Sit with it, because that quiet is where Allah is teaching your soul how to recognize what is worthy of walking into your future. One day, you will look back at the things you once begged for and feel something surprising. Not regret. Gratitude. Gratitude that Allah did not give you everything you wanted, because if He had, you might never have become who you were meant to be. And in that moment, you will understand why this lesson feels so gentle and so strong at the same time. Allah is not starving your heart to make you weak. He is teaching it how to walk free. Allah breaks you in secret, so He can reveal you in power. Let me speak to you in a way the world never does. There are battles in your life that no one will ever clap for. No one will notice. No one will post about. No one will even know you survived. These are the battles that happen inside you. The moments when you sit alone with your thoughts and feel the weight of questions you cannot ask anyone else. The nights when you hold yourself together quietly so no one sees you fall apart. The mornings when you stand up and move forward, even though your heart feels tired before the day has even begun. This is where Allah works the most. Not in the moments where people are watching, but in the moments where you are unseen. Because before Allah gives you strength that shows, He gives you strength that stays. He allows you to face disappointment without becoming bitter. He allows you to feel hurt without becoming hard. He allows you to feel delayed without losing faith. And this is not easy. You want signs. You want reassurance. You want something that tells you this struggle means something. But often, Allah gives you none of that. He gives you silence. Not to ignore you, but to grow you. In that silence, you begin to learn how to stand without leaning on anyone else's words. You learn how to pray without needing immediate answers. You learn how to keep going without knowing exactly where you will land. This is how your inner strength is formed. Because if Allah lifted you too early, the weight of what comes next would crush you instead of carry you forward. So He trains you, quietly, patiently, privately, you start to notice small changes in yourself. You react less. You listen more. You choose your words carefully. You walk away from arguments you once would have fought to win, not because you became weak, but because you became steady. This is the kind of strength the world does not recognize at first. The strength to remain kind when you could be cold. The strength to remain honest when you could take shortcuts. The strength to remain faithful when you feel forgotten. And here is what makes this season so heavy. There is no audience for your progress. No one sees how far you have come from who you used to be. No one knows how many times you chose patience over anger, trust over fear, prayer over despair. But Allah sees all of it. Every moment you held yourself together. Every moment you chose to believe instead of break. Every moment you kept going when stopping would have been easier. This is why this lesson feels like breaking, because what is actually being broken is not you. It is the part of you that could not carry what is coming. The impatience, the pride, the need to be seen, the fear of being misunderstood. These things fall away in the quiet. And what remains is something solid, something steady, something that can hold responsibility, attention, and blessing without losing itself. If you are in a season where your struggles feel invisible, where your growth feels unnoticed, where your strength feels like it is being built in the dark, hear this clearly. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared for something that requires a kind of strength that cannot be rushed. And one day, when Allah reveals you in ways you never expected, people will see the outcome. But only you and Allah will remember the silent battles that made it possible. This is not a breaking meant to destroy you. This is a shaping meant to make you unshakable. Allah moves you from searching for signs to becoming a message. Let me speak to you gently now. There is a moment in your life when you stop looking around and start looking within. For a long time, you searched for signs outside yourself. You waited for a door to open. You waited for a person to appear. You waited for a moment that would finally tell you, now, this is it. This is where your life changes. And in that waiting, you kept asking Allah to show you something. But slowly, something else begins to happen. Instead of showing you more signs in the world, Allah begins to change the way the world sees you. You start to notice that your presence feels different. Your words carry more weight. Your silence feels stronger than your speech used to be. Not because you became louder, but because you became clearer. This is one of the quietest forms of elevation. You stop needing constant reassurance from life because something inside you becomes steady. You no longer feel pulled in 100 directions by every opportunity, every opinion, every voice telling you who you should be. You begin to move with intention, and people start to feel it. They come to you not just to talk, but to breathe. They listen to you not just to respond, but to understand. They notice something in you they cannot explain, but they recognize as calm, grounded, and real. This is not an accident. This is what happens when your connection with Allah becomes the center of who you are, not just a part of what you do. You stop asking, "What is my purpose?" in a restless way, and you start living in a way that answers the question without words. You become someone who carries patience in a rushed world, someone who carries honesty in a world full of shortcuts, someone who carries hope in a world that often feels tired and heavy, and without realizing it, your life begins to speak. Not through big speeches, not through dramatic moments, but through consistency, through how you treat people when no one is watching, through how you hold yourself when things do not go your way, through how you return to Allah again and again, even when you feel distant, even when you feel small. This is when you realize something beautiful. You do not need to chase signs anymore, because you are walking as one. Your journey becomes a quiet reminder to others that growth is possible, that faith can be lived, that strength can be gentle and still unbreakable. And here is the part that often surprises you. This does not make you feel proud. It makes you feel humble, because you know how many nights it took to become this steady, how many doubts you had to walk through, how many times you almost gave up on yourself before Allah reminded you that He never gave up on you. So when someone looks at you and says, "There is something different about you," you do not feel above them. You feel grateful. Grateful that Allah did not just guide you to a moment. He guided you into a way of being. If you are in this season where your heart feels quieter, where your steps feel more intentional, where your life feels less like a search and more like a path, understand this. You are not drifting. You are aligning. Allah is not just showing you where to go. He is shaping you into someone who can walk there with grace, strength, and trust. And this is one of the most powerful forms of elevation. Not when people start to follow you, but when you finally learn how to walk with Allah, wherever the path leads. Allah stops you from chasing the future and makes the future chase you. Let me speak to you slowly now. There is a moment when you realize you are tired of running. Not just running after goals, not just running after people, not just running after moments you think will finally make you feel whole, but running after a version of life that always seems one step ahead of you. For a long time you believed that if you moved faster, tried harder, and reached further, you would finally arrive somewhere that feels like peace. And then, quietly, Allah begins to teach you something different. He shows you that peace does not come from catching the future. It comes from standing firmly in the present. You start to move with purpose instead of panic. You start to plan without obsession. You start to work without fear that everything will fall apart if you slow down. This is not because you stopped caring. It is because you started trusting. Trusting that what is written for you does not need to be chased. Trusting that what belongs to you will recognize you. Trusting that no one can take what Allah has placed in your path. And this trust changes the way you walk through life. You no longer knock on every door that looks promising. You no longer force your way into spaces that make you feel small. You no longer beg for attention, approval, or opportunity. You show up as you are, steady, grounded, present, and something strange begins to happen. Opportunities find you. Conversations open in your direction. Paths appear that you did not have to fight your way into. Not because you became passive, but because you became aligned. Your actions and your intentions begin to move in the same direction. You stop scattering your energy across 100 worries and start placing it into a few things that truly matter. And this is where elevation feels different than you imagined. It does not feel like being lifted high above everyone else. It feels like being placed exactly where you are meant to stand. You look back at the person you used to be, the one who rushed, the one who worried, the one who felt behind, and you realize something gently. You were never behind. You were being guided. Every delay taught you patience. Every closed door taught you discernment. Every season of waiting taught you how to carry what you asked for. So now, when you move forward, you do not move with fear of losing what you gain. You move with gratitude for what you are given. If you feel this calm beginning to grow inside you, this quiet certainty that you do not have to force life anymore, hear this clearly. This is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of walking it with confidence. Not because you finally figured everything out, but because you finally learned who you are walking with. And when you reach this place, something beautiful happens. The future no longer feels like something you must chase. It feels like something that is already on its way to meet you, step by step, moment by moment, under the care of the one who has been guiding you from the very beginning. Let me leave you with this, not as a lesson, not as advice, but as something to hold quietly in your heart. Everything you have walked through, every delay, every loss, every night you felt unseen, every prayer you whispered when no one else knew you were struggling, none of it was wasted. You were not being pushed away from something. You were being guided towards something. And even now, even in this moment, Allah is not standing far from you, waiting for you to become stronger, better, or more worthy. He is already near, in your breath, in your patience, in the quiet strength you carry without realizing how rare it is. So when you close this video and return to your life, do not rush to become someone else. Walk gently as the person you are becoming. Trust the path that is unfolding without noise. Trust the doors that are opening without force. Trust the version of you that is being shaped in places no one else can see. Because one day, when you finally stand in the place you once prayed for, you will not only recognize the blessing, you will recognize yourself. And in that moment, you will understand something that can only be learned through walking, waiting, and trusting. This was never about getting somewhere faster. It was about becoming someone who could arrive with peace. So go forward quietly, not because you are afraid, but because you know who is walking with you. This is your turn.